Donald Trump and J.D. Vance refuse to let go of their racist lies about Haitian immigrants eating pets, and now Trump claims he'll be visiting Springfield in 2 weeks. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. This is the time when presidential candidates should be busy barnstorming crucial swing states. Kamala Harris will travel to Georgia to talk about reproductive rights. She spoke to the National Association of Black Journalists in Philadelphia, and she's set to appear in Michigan with Oprah. So how about Donald Trump? Where was Donald Trump on Wednesday?
Donald Trump made a pit stop at Pub Key, a Bitcoin-themed bar in New York City last night on his way to a Long Island rally. The bar's owner said that the former president spent $998.70 on a few dozen burgers for supporters. He paid for the food with Bitcoin.
I'm just going to scan this QR code here with this phone if you want to take that from them. Scan that QR code right here. Take pictures. Right there. Right there. Just that one. Slight technical difficulty.
All right. And fantastic, it went through. Right. I need to refresh the invoice.
Invoice?
Refresh the invoice.
Oh, it did go through. All right, we're done.
Perfect.
The first transaction by a president on the Bitcoin protocol.
Wow, that is a more efficient way to pay for drinks. I mean, I could either do the arduous process of leaving cash on the bar, or I could use my phone to scan a QR code on a tablet, pass it back and forth to two other guys that withdraws cryptocurrency from my digital wallet, and then stand there in silence for 30 seconds while all my friends leave and go to a different bar. Quick, he's distracted. Let's hit the blind tiger. My favorite part of that clip is when they think the transaction went through, everyone claps, and then they have to check again to make sure it really went through, and Trump just stands there nodding the whole time because he has no idea what the going on. And by the way, I wouldn't either. But I also wouldn't invite a bunch of cameras to film me the first time I used it to pay for goods and services. And by the way, if Bitcoin is your thing, you do you, I'm not judging. Just being able to understand how blockchain technology works is a feat in itself. Every 2 months, I try to listen to a podcast explaining it, and I think I've got the gist, and then the second I try to explain it to someone else, I completely fall apart and sound like this.
Will repeat your...
It's like listening to someone explain the rules of a German board game. After a few minutes, my brain just starts drying out and I want to scream, can't we just do Pictionary? So Trump was in New York to nod along vacantly at a crypto bar before appearing at a rally on Long Island, specifically the electoral powerhouse of Nassau County. As we all know, every presidential election inevitably comes down to Long Island. We all remember the nail-biting final days of the 2020 election when everyone waited with bated breath to see which candidate would win the crucial demographic of uncles who smoke Marlboro Lights and won't stop talking about the Jets' 1998 season. Let me tell you something, kid. I'll vote for whoever gives the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Vinny Testaverde. Man was a hometown hero. Now check out this hustler I just got. Is he showing you a dirty magazine again? I'm teaching the boys some things you better lax. Go down to the salon and get another perm, why don't you? You want to hear something crazy? I bought this with Bitcoin. So anyway, Trump was in New York for some reason, but you got to give the man credit. He knows how to tailor his message to New Yorkers.
Patriotic New Yorkers must get your asses out to vote. Gotta get up. Gotta get up. Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're gonna vote for Trump today, Harry. Get up, Harry. Come on, let's go.
That's literally the bit I was doing. He's stealing my bit. He's doing my character. Harry, that got his knee cleaner. Stop flipping through that dirty magazine and get your fat ass off the couch. Oh, I'm watching the game. Why don't you mind your own business, you shrew? I should have never picked you up at that roller derby. While he was talking about New York-specific policy issues like lazy husbands, he, of course, had to crap all over the subway.
We will renovate the New York subway so that the greatest city in the world finally has, again, the greatest transit system anywhere in the world. You have the basics. We have to clean it. We have to take care of it.
I'm willing to bet anything Trump has not been inside a subway car since at most the 1950s. The last time he was on a subway train, they probably had nice leather seats and those classic subway ads that said stuff like, got a tyke? Give him a Lucky Strike. And almost to prove he hasn't ridden the subway recently, the only example Trump could think of was when he was a child, which, to remind you of how old he is, would have been almost 70 years ago.
My parents would drop me off at a subway, and I'd go to Union Turnpike, or I'd go to wherever They had no fear that I was going to be disappearing. They would take me to a subway, put me on, and say, bye, darling, bye.
That might be a case of them not being afraid you were going to disappear, but being afraid you were going to come back. My parents, they would put me on the subway. They wouldn't even tell me where I was going. I'd say, Mother, Father, how am I going to get home? And they'd just laugh because the subway was so safe and the doors would close, and as the train was rolling away, I'd see them high-five each other. The happiest they'd ever seen them because of how safe the subway was. And then I'd ride the rails for days and days until I finally found my way home, and I bet they'd be so excited. They'd say, Dear God, what are you doing here? And I'd say, Mother, I knew you were worried. And good news, the subway's safe. And they break down crying, tears of joy. Tears because of how safe the subway was. This Trump rally was so boring and incoherent that even Trump's favorite network eventually had to cut away.
I got all my friends here. Anthony, stand up. Anthony Lomangino, one of the greats.
Joining us now is Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House.
Fox News, you do not want to cut away from Anthony Lomangino. They cut away from Trump to go to Newt Gingrich? That's brutal. You might as well just cut to the spinning beach ball. Trump's whole thing is entertainment. He can't talk about policy, nor does he care about policy, and now he can't even be entertaining enough for his own superfans on Fox News. Fox viewers are probably sitting at home watching Trump rallies the way Trump watches someone pay with Bitcoin. Trump has no interest in making anyone's life any better. Over the course of the last few weeks, he's been asked very simple questions about everything from healthcare to childcare, food prices to housing costs to manufacturing jobs. And in every single case, he humiliates himself. He has nothing to offer on issues. That's why he's still stuck on his BS about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, eating pets.
I'm going to go there in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to Springfield and I'm going to Aurora. You may never see me again, but that's okay. Got to do what I got to do. Whatever happened to Trump? Well, he never got out of Springfield.
What does that mean? Are you afraid you'll get super into eating dogs and just stay forever? Trump never came back from Springfield. He said he found a great restaurant. Why are you going to Springfield? Why? To make things even worse for everyone there whose lives you've already disrupted? Even the Republican mayor of Springfield said he preferred Trump stay away. Look, I have an idea. Since Trump is so into the subway now, how about we just put him on the F train and tell him it goes to Springfield? He'll end up holding a press conference in Coney Island. Not only are they eating dogs, they have contests where they try to eat as many as they can. In a very short period, they dip the dogs in water. Trump and his semi-humanoid running mate, J.D. Vance, will not let go of these disgusting lies, despite the fact that everyone from the Republican governor of Ohio to the Republican mayor of Springfield to the city manager has debunked them. But Vance says it's not his job to verify what comes out of his mouth. It's the media's.
You say that you have a responsibility to share what your constituents tell you, but don't you also have a responsibility to fact-check them first?
Well, I think the media has a responsibility to fact-check the residents of Springfield, not lie about them.
Man, has any public figure ever been more off-putting than J.D. Vance? I didn't think anyone could ever out-cruise Ted Cruz, but this son of a bitch did it. He's Ted Cruz 2.0, less nasal, more eyeliner. That, by the way, J.D., that's exactly what the media's been doing. They fact-check the pet-eating lies. You're the one who repeated them anyway. You don't get to just lie and then tell everyone else it's their job to fact-check your BS. Can you imagine that standard in any other context? All right, class, today we're going to be learning about how Finland invented spaghetti during the Revolutionary War. Oh, Mr. Vance, I don't think that's true. Hey, it's not my job to check if it's true. It's a student's job. In fact, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Springfield city manager told Vance's staff the rumors were false, but Vance ran with them anyway. Vance's staff also embarrassed themselves when they tried to provide evidence to the Wall Street Journal that was quickly proven false.
A Vance spokesperson on Tuesday provided the Wall Street Journal with a police report in which a resident had claimed her pet might have been taken by Haitian neighbors. But when a reporter went to Anna Kilgore's house Tuesday evening, she said her cat, Miss Sassy, which went missing in late August, had actually returned a few days later and was found safe in her own basement.
Well, if that isn't the most Miss Sassy move I could possibly... I'm gonna go hide in the basement to start some rumors. You know why? Because I'm sassy. By the way, if your cat goes missing, why would your first guess be someone ate it? Even I would never jump to that conclusion that someone ate my dog, and I have a dog who actually could be mistaken for a very sick chicken. Now, it should be noted that the woman who filed that report said she apologized to her Haitian neighbors, which is the right thing to do. Unfortunately, it's out of her hands now because the most unapologetic ass who've ever graced the political stage continue to run with it. For example, Vance was also fact-checked about the fact that the Haitian immigrants in Springfield came here legally through a legal immigration program called Temporary Protected Status. But Vance said he did not care.
The majority of the Haitians in Springfield came under TPS, so they are here legally. If you become the vice president under a Trump administration, what will you guys do about the migrants that are already there, since they did arrive legally?
Now, the media loves to say that the Haitian migrants, hundreds of thousands of them, by the way, 20,000 in Springfield, but hundreds of thousands of them all across our country, they are here legally. And what they mean is that Kamala Harris used two separate programs, mass parole and temporary protective status. She used two programs to wave a wand and to say, we're not going to deport those people here. Well, if Kamala Harris waves the wand illegally and says these people are now here legally, I'm still going to call them an illegal alien. An illegal action from Kamala Harris does not make an alien legal.
Oh, you're still going to call them illegal aliens? Well, then I'm still going to call you a couch. Actually, I'm going to add some more details to it. J.D. Vance didn't just have relations with a couch. He got caught in a threesome with a lazy boy and an Eames chair. Is that rumor true? I don't know if that rumor is true. I would say the media should fact check it, but they're all too busy chasing down all his other lies. And by the way, guys, I don't think it's just couches. Remember how nervous and weird JD was when he was ordering donuts?
Helps everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense.
What was he gonna do with those donuts? I'll let you decide. I would like some donuts. What flavor? Doesn't matter. Just make sure they have holes. Look, it's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to know if it's true. What I do know is that Trump and Vance have no ideas for improving anyone's lives. They don't care. They can't talk competently or coherently about stuff that actually matters to people, like food prices or healthcare. So instead, they repeat racist lies they know are false. Of course, then JD gets a little distracted by his other hobby, and Trump has to tell him,
"Get your fat ass out of the couch."
This has been A Closer Look.